Well, guys, that's pretty much it. I just want to close with a little section on resources. Now, listen, again, if there's something I haven't covered, please let me know. Please, I will get on it. I will try to include it. I'll slip it in a section or whatever. Just let me know if you have any questions. Mention it in the comments section, and I'll get right on it. But for this section, I have resources. Now, you might be expecting a reading list or something like that. No, I'm not going to provide that. I'm going to mention some things, but listen, what's important for you is to use material that's important for you right now. If I provided a list of books I that's books that are helping me right now. I have a ton of books that have helped me along the way. I don't know where you are in your journey. Maybe you're thinking of stepping out. Maybe you just stepped out. Maybe you've been out for years. Who knows? So I don't know where you are on the journey. But what's important is you just need to decide what you want to read for now. What's important for you? What's going to work for you? Where are you? What do you need? What do you want? What do you want? What do you want for yourself? What do you need? Are you feeling you need a little bit of the East in your thinking? A little bit of Buddhism? Well, you know, Google. Google is awesome. Just Google in, what's the best book on Buddhism? What about authentic Buddhism? I don't want Western Buddhism. I want authentic, original Buddhism. Or what about Islam? Or what about crystals? Or what about this or that? You know, several years ago, my son, he's into personal coaching, and he went to a wellness seminar, a wellness expo. It was held in a university gym or something. There were tons of booths in there. He needed my help, so I gave him some help. And there were people in there selling wands and crystals and giving back rubs and massage chairs and different kinds of potions and organic food, like you name it. It was it was truly weird for me. I must say, I've never been to anything like it in my life. Absolutely fascinating though. And I met some amazing, amazing people. Smart people, intelligent people, successful people who believed in the power of crystals, or who believed in magic wands, or who believed in this or that or the other. You know, I realized, you know what? People are amazing. The human race is amazing. People are just amazing. And they were doing what felt good to them. They were doing what they felt they needed. I know some people who decided that they like to have crystals in their lives, or a certain kind of incense, or certain essential oils. Or my wife, she has, she's got native blood in her, and she is very interested in native spirituality. And she loves it. She loves the outdoors. She loves being outside and in the woods especially, and she feels most in touch with herself and most in touch with we would call the divine or whatever. Well, what works for you? What do you want? What kind of resources do you want? Are you interested in native spirituality? Look it up. What's a good book on native spirituality? What's a good book on Wicca? I've read books on Wicca. Fascinating. You would be surprised how similar Wicca is to a lot of Christian movements out there. In fact, I preached a sermon one time after I read a book on Wicca, how similar what the Vineyard was doing with the way it had its meetings and Wicca meetings. I got a lot of trouble over that one. But you'd be surprised. What works for you? What's good for you? What do you want? Just Google it, first of all. Maybe you want to ask, I'm really interested in this. You know, write it in the comment section. I'll try to help. But in the earlier stages, we tend to read books, earlier stages of spirituality, we tend to read books and material. We expose ourselves to stuff that affirms what we already believe. We read stuff we already believe. We might read material that says it better or tweaks it a little bit, but we're all basically reading stuff that is affirming and confirming of where we already are. But as we grow, we start to see that maybe there's life beyond the fence. Maybe we'll study the fence, we'll look around the fence and we'll read radical material from the edge, So when I was in the earlier stages, I read C.S. Lewis and all that. That's stuff that was there for then, Oswald Chambers and so on. But then I started to explore around the fence, the fringes. This is where you get to people like Thomas Merton and Pete Rollins and Richard Rohr and Brian McLaren and Rob Bell and, these people that are on the fringes, right? They're the radicals or the progressives. Then you realize there's something beyond them as well. There's something beyond the fence. There's this little body of water we're in. It's actually a part of a huge system, which includes the ocean. And so we start looking beyond, maybe reading philosophy or Buddhism or Hinduism, or maybe Merton's later material, or maybe quantum physics or other science, or Hegel or Slavoj Žižek, the present-day philosopher who's fascinating, and so on. I love reading in over my head. I love diving into the deep end and getting into the deep water where I'm way beyond and I got to really struggle to understand. That helps me grow. That helps stretches me. But listen, again, no one has a gun to your head. You can study whatever you want. I know a young woman who has been in touch with me for coaching, and she decided she wanted to read the spiritualism. She started reading Krishnamurti. I recommended that, but from there she's looking into other writers in that tradition and is being blown away. She's experiencing personal spiritual growth, totally outside of the envelope of Christianity. Totally separate. But she's growing spiritually and she's so happy and feeling a lot more peace. It's just making sense to her. I know another person who dove into native spirituality and it's just making sense to her. Everything's falling into place. She's feeling at one with herself, at one with her, roots, at one with nature, at one with the divine, whatever. I know another guy who is really getting into atheism, thoughtful, responsible atheism, and just feels fulfilled. He feels complete. He loves how his mind is given free rein to explore. It's a new experience for him. So ask yourself, what do you need? Maybe you need to stop reading nonfiction altogether. Maybe you just watch movies and Netflix and read fiction. That's up to you. I used to read only nonfiction. Now I'm starting to get into fiction. The power of fiction, the power of story. It's funny, I'm an artist, but I never used to like fiction so much. But now I'm getting into fiction. I read a lot of stuff on saving the environment. But the one book that changed the way I behave, and now I recycle and I do returnables and I separate the garbage and the compost and all that. You know what book did it? The Road. The Road by Cormac McCarthy. It changed my mind. Totally. It's a short book. Maybe you've seen the movie with Viggo Mortensen. Totally changed my life. A story. So what do you need? What do you want? Our bodies often crave what we need. We're drinking a lot of water. It's because our bodies are craving it. Or we're eating a lot of fruit. It's because our bodies are craving it. Or we find we're eating a lot of meat or salt. It's because our bodies are craving it. It needs it. Maybe your spirit's craving something and you've been putting it down, trying to silence it. Well, what do you want? What is it you want? What do you think you need? What interests you? Don't be ashamed. Maybe you want to keep it to yourself at first that you're interested in crystals. Or you want to study the possibility of aliens. Or you want to go into native spirituality. or you want to look into the power of essential oils, or you want to look into whatever, Islam. I know some people who've converted to Islam. I know a person who became a Buddhist from Christianity. What do you want to do? It's up to you. Nobody's got a gun to your head, and nobody says that once you're there, you have to stay there. It's totally up to you. So, those are your resources. I could go through a whole list of things, but it wouldn't be helpful for you. I've named some names. I've mentioned some books. Hopefully that'll give you a head start, but it's totally up to you. What do you want? What do you think you need? And then do it. Talk to you next time.